Okay. Okay.
Knowing when to quit, or taking a break, taking an extended break from martial arts training. How do you know when to do that? Right? Is it okay to give up? Are you tired of your body hurting all the time? Maybe you're just tired of the time, the work, the money. If you're paying for, you might be paying a lot for lessons and fees and injuries, and maybe it's time away from your family. Maybe it's time away from your other passions that makes you think that you should spend your time doing something else. Maybe you're just getting old. Maybe you have injuries. Maybe it's psychological stuff. Maybe you just don't feel like you're getting any better. You feel like you're stuck. You're in a rut and you're just beating your head up against the wall. Maybe all of those things, maybe some combination of those things. Sometimes we reach a point where we just feel like you take a few days off, you take a week off or something like that, and it just feels awesome that you don't have to deal with all the things that come with training. And so maybe you just decide to keep that ball rolling and keep not going to class. Keep not getting that work in, and it feels good to you for a while. And I think it's okay to do that. You know, it's your journey. You can take as much time off of the mats as you want. Ultimately, you got to know that it's going to be that much harder to step back on the mat when you do. That you don't want to get so burnt out that it becomes a total chore all the time. If it's not making you happy, if you're not getting that sense of accomplishment, those good feelings that you should be getting after a hard training session, you should feel, at least I like to feel a little bit of euphoria, a sense of goodness, and a sense of having done the right thing. It's hard to explain. So take it from me. I trained different styles of karate from the time I was 6 or 7 to the time I was about 14, 13. And it was really important to me. I had a heavy bag in my room. My parents, supported me. They paid for my lessons. They took me to lessons. I also did a lot of alternative training. I would buy those videos. It was like VHS tapes that you could order from the back of the martial arts magazines, like Pressure Points and whole judo series of how to do judo throws. And I had a lot of them. And because there was no options for me. I grew up in Bumpkinville. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I was lucky to have even a karate option. And so that's what I trained. And I loved it. I was good at it, I had trophies and stuff. It was something that I didn't really do sports, at least not like officially, not for school. I was never an athlete. But karate was something that I did. It was like my thing, one of my things. And I was always fascinated with warriors of all kinds and ninjas and medieval warriors, all that stuff, of course. I'm a child of the 80s. That's like the ultimate. It still is. It's still what I want to do. It's still what I'm most interested in is something inside of me, something in my soul like just tens of thousands of years more of evolutionary genealogical evolution, where most of my ancestors were at some point in their lives having to go to battle, having to defend their families against wolves, warring tribes, the Romans, whatever the threat was. I guarantee it was more of a threat than most of y'all are dealing with now. And so we're not meant to be so soft, guys. We're not meant to be so soft. We're not meant to not have any challenges. Like we used to have to fight off saber-toothed tigers with spears just to protect our children, just so our women and kids could eat, so we could go on. The only thing driving us was this biological desire to procreate and live. Not really a lot of comfort other than what our brains naturally produce, and maybe we would find ways to get high, maybe with mushrooms or certain plants. We find ways to alter our consciousness eventually, but for the most part we're straight edging it. We're out here straight edging it in the cold with like just wearing leather and fur to stay warm, barefooted perhaps, sticks and stone tools, no Amazon, no UPS, no grocery store. And so it's wrong for us to live the way we do, not because it's necessarily morally wrong. It's wrong because it's biologically wrong. It feels wrong without. That's why people are so riddled with anxiety. That's why people are so sick. They're not being challenged. Their mitochondria is not being trained to be a warrior, to be a hunter, to provide. Nothing is life or death. Everything's just, we're comfortably numb. Everything's just kind of blasé in comparison to that kind of lifestyle, that kind of hard shit that 99.99999% of our ancestors endured so that you could live here and have this Western lifestyle. It boggles my mind that people don't even realize what they're doing with the comfort seeking. They just take it for granted that, like, oh yeah, you're supposed to have like a pristine home with clean looking drywall and clean sheets every single night, and just this extremely soft and manicured, and I would say sterile lifestyle is what so many people have become not only accustomed to but entitled to. There are people that can't even go camping. Karate story. I was 13 years old in 1993, 14. I was 12, rather. And UFC 1 happened. Royce Gracie won the first UFC 1, and when I saw that, I realized that all the karate training that I was doing was wrong. Everything I'm doing is wrong. It's a joke. The stuff that I'm training, this rigid, kind of repetitive, formulaic style of training that is most traditional martial arts training, even though we did a lot of point sparring and stuff, and I learned a lot from that, that's not going to win a cage fight. I mean, if you learn boxing and you learn grappling and you add to that, of course, plenty of great karate fighters in MMA, but they don't just do traditional karate. They have to mix it up to make it work. Combination of things, that My dojo fell apart. Could have gone to another dojo, but I was also going to high school, and I was, kind of worried about being bullied. And it's actually at that time where I grew up, in the time and place that I was, it was considered gay to do karate. Like, it was considered, wearing a gi, being seen in a gi in public, would be like a source of embarrassment for a guy like me at that time. And I didn't really want to give anybody any extra reasons to hate me or pick on me, because I was already very unpopular. There's like Bible thumping community, and I was accused of being a Satan worshiper and all this stuff because I had long hair and wore Metallica t-shirts. Friends weren't allowed to play with me because their parents told them that I was evil. So I already had enough going on. I didn't need to add another layer of weird to it. You think, picking karate, that's not weird, that's a normal thing. You didn't grow up in the time and place that I grew up in. You have no idea what you're talking about. It was weird. It was gay. You were up gut if you did that kind of thing. So, combination of not seeming like it was a cool thing to do anymore, dojo fizzling out, UFC 1 happened, and I fell off it. I stopped training. Heavy bag in my room came down. I started focusing on music and other things. And so I was 13 or 14 when I quit. 93, 94, and then kind of entering into my midlife crisis at age 37. I'm overweight, I'm depressed, I'm drinking too much, don't really have any purpose in my life, and I'm playing this UFC game on a PlayStation, which I'm not a gamer, but I'll periodically will play a little bit. I was playing UFC 2 or 3, and you're building up your character. Like, I'm putting all this time into making my character go to the gym so that he or she can work on her boxing, her kickboxing. You got to build your stats up so that you're able to fight, so that your guy gets better. And you're putting all this time doing all these different exercises in the game, and it occurred to me how ridiculous it was that I'm putting this time and mental energy into this game, pretending to do something that I actually want to do. I was like, why don't I just do this? So I threw the controller down, went to social media, made a post. Hey, I'm looking to train boxing, BJJ, MMA. What do you got, Hive Mind? Somebody chimed in with a name. The guy that had a gym. Within a few days, I was there. And I haven't really quit since. But I have taken breaks, which is back to our topic, right, guys? So I took a 23-year break from training, from age 14 to age 37. So ask me how I know if it's okay if you take a break. And now here I am, I'm 42. I've been training hard for 5 years, again, and I picked up right where I left off in 1994. I realized I needed to be a grappler. I needed to work on grappling. I needed to actually be able to punch and have hands. 23-year hiatus from martial arts. I came back. I was horrible, right? I mean, I was so good at karate, but I wasn't really a fighter, right? Wasn't really a martial artist. And here we are. Still climbing that mountain. No end in sight. This one time when I was sparring with a particularly psychotic sparring partner who was one of my regular sparring partners for a long time. And there's this kind of unspoken rule in Muay Thai and kickboxing where when you throw a kick at someone you're just light sparring, and you throw a kick slow enough for them to catch it, when you could have just thrown a kick, really fast and they wouldn't have been able to catch it, or you could have clobbered them with the kick. And it's very bad etiquette to catch the kick that they could have crushed you with when they didn't have to let you catch the kick, right? They could have crushed you, or they could have gone so fast that you wouldn't have been able to catch the kick. So I threw a very controlled and gentle kick, and this psychotic sparring partner caught it, looked me right in the eyes like this, grabbed my foot and twisted. So as my foot was extended, he twisted this way and dislocated my hip and tore my labrum and gave me a hip impingement. It's something that I still have to deal with today. For years, my hip was out of socket and in constant pain, and I would go on long hikes like I just did, and it would just, every step, it would hurt. And I continued training. I did not stop training. And eventually, I learned slowly how to rehabilitate that, and I was able to rebuild it up and rebuild the muscle support around my hip so that it's supported now. There was a time for about a year there after that where my sidekick being my most powerful and maybe best striking weapon. And because he had torn my labrum and gave me a hip impingement on that side, he took my sidekick away from me. I was no longer able to use sidekick in sparring anywhere above like maybe a thigh kick without having like stabbing, electrical, terrifying pain shooting through my hip. But once again, I was able to heal myself. I was able to, with intuition and some research, through diet, through stretching and building my hip muscles back up. And now, as long as I don't mess up my form and my planted foot is pointing out, I can throw a side kick, just as well as I could before, and I feel no pain. I was able to power through it. I was able to will my way through that and heal yet another injury. And I took no time off for that. I was just in constant pain. Eventually it popped back into place, and eventually I built it up and fixed myself. So it's hard to know. Should I have taken time off? Well, I didn't, and it panned out, and I was able to get through it. But some injuries do need rest. So when should you quit? When should you take a break? I don't know the answer to that question, but I can share my experiences with you at least. Two distinct times since I started my jiu-jitsu / MMA journey after a 23-year hiatus from martial arts at age 37. I started back training, and there were two distinct times when I took a significant chunk of time off, like a 5-month period that happened twice. And the first time was during COVID, and I was just focused on, I wasn't scared of the virus or anything like that. And the gym I was training at was still open against the law, but that's not why I wasn't training. I wasn't training because I was just trying to be prepared in case things got worse. So I was just taking care of business on my farm and focusing on something else. So that's an example of life kind of made me, other things in my life took priority over the martial arts training, right? Other things more important than that to me at that time, for that time period. So 2020, 5 months off. 2021, I got injured grappling. I was like in a weird position like this, and someone like shoulder pressure, and I just felt my fingers start to tingle, and my whole arm turned like red. And I kept rolling. I rolled like several more rounds after that. I was like, oh, I think I'm okay. And got up the next day, and I was in a lot of pain. And I still have nerve damage in my neck from that. And I could not like lay flat on my back and put my head on the ground. I had to keep my neck so it would have been like that. So any kind of grappling that would move my neck back, it would just be like nerve pinching, excruciating pain in my neck and shoulder, and my fingers would start to tingle. That sucked, guys, and it was 5 months. 5 months I went to chiropractor. I tried all kinds of gadgets, neck stretcher things, various things that you can do that people suggest to fix that kind of thing, and nothing worked. It wasn't until I figured out, just went to the monkey bars one day and started doing monkey bars, swinging and hanging and doing pull-ups. And something about that when I added that in, it just healed. It just got better. And it'll always be with me. You know, it's always vulnerable there if I get twisted in the wrong way. But I know how to treat it now. So if it happens again, I'm not going to be off for no 5 months, because I know how to rehabilitate myself for that injury. There's another time, I wasn't off. I didn't take any time off, but I got torn meniscus taking my blue belt test. I got thrown the judo throw to prove you can take the fall. He threw me really hard, and it was so hard that I couldn't, for whatever reason, I didn't get my legs apart, scissored in the right way, and my knees clanked together. At least I think that's what caused it. I don't even know. And then they beat the shit out of me so that I could get my blue belt, and I ran the gauntlet, and they whipped me and everything. But after that, my knee's never been the same. It's actually fine. It doesn't give me any problems anymore, but there was a period there where I was very scared because it felt unstable. And so, yeah, I don't think that means you should take time off from exercising. Maybe take time off from training hard, from rolling, and focus on rehabilitating that knee and focusing on your nutrition, giving your body the right conditions so that it can heal, the right mental condition, the right spiritual, physical condition. And then I healed that. I overcame that. And that was when right after I got my blue belt. And ever since then, I basically haven't been injured. And that's how I train. Pretty much my goal is to always be getting better, always be improving without getting injured. Every time I roll, but my primary thing is not getting to the submission. It's not control. It's not technique. The first thing that I'm thinking about is my own safety. So if I got to roll one way or I got to move in some position, I'm preemptively thinking about avoiding injury. And it sounds like that would be a super cautious, lame way to roll. But it's not, because I do it every time I roll. So built into my technique and the way that I move is this safety mindset and this training. I've got to think about my neck. I don't wear a cup. I got to think about not getting hit in the groin. I don't wear a mouthpiece. Right? I got to protect my chin and keep my teeth in the right place so that I don't chip a tooth if someone rams me. So always cultivating this sort of extreme sense of self-awareness about my body, where my body is, who I'm sparring with, how they're sparring with me. I had to learn that. I had to learn that from the School of Hard Knocks, because I got the shit beat out of me. I had so many injuries, broken ribs. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and list them all, guys. You know, I don't have x-rays to show because I didn't go to the doctor. So I understand if you need to heal. I understand if you're burnt out. I understand if you're feeling stuck. But don't let yourself get too far into the man pouch zone. Don't let yourself get too soft. Take a little time and then do whatever you got to do. Drink some extra coffee or whatever you got to do and make yourself go back. Don't stop training. No excuses, right? Need to take a break, that's fine. But don't take 3 steps forward and then take 6 steps back. You will regret it. That's what the biggest regret. If your overall health is improved by taking time to rest your brain, kind of hit the reset button. Like technically, You're in the rut with your technique. Take a little bit of time off. When you come back, you might roll a little bit different. Some things might change. You might rattle something loose. So think about that. So if you do decide to take time off, think of it this way. Think of the time off in the same way that this frivolous hike is, I consider it part of my training. Consider your time off, you're taking a break from training, as part of your training. So in other words, you're taking a break so that you can be better. You're taking a step back so that you're better positioned to take 2-3 steps forward. 2 weeks from now, a month from now, however long you need. But guys, I'm telling you, don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable eating that Mexican food, and drinking them margaritas, not doing cardio, letting yourself get flubby, weak. That's not how our ancestors did it. That's not what they want for you. I promise that is not what they want for you. Honor your ancestors. Don't be a turd. Don't stop training. Take time off, that's fine. But take time off as part of your strategy to move forward, continue to progress, to continue to cultivate the warrior within. Like and subscribe, please and thank you.